Hey y'all, for years, folks been coming to the crib and eating tofu and telling me it's really good and wondering why that tofu doesn't taste the same way as mine when they make it. So I'm going to take a few minutes and just go over, show you how I make the tofu. And what I do is I buy it from the store, freeze it, and because tofu sits in water, if you buy the tofu that sits in water, which you have to do to make tofu this way, obviously, it freezes. And if you buy it, water freezes, and it expands. And when the tofu expands, obviously the cracks that are created and so forth. When you thaw it, those cracks that result from the expansion of the water remain. And what I do is I squeeze the water out of the tofu before I cook it, which then dries the tofu out and allows it to absorb the sauce that you're cooking it in ways that not freezing the tofu just doesn't work. So what you end up with is a tofu that takes on the sauce of whatever it is you cook it in or store it in or whatever it is you want to do, bake it, whatever. It just takes on the flavor of the marinade in a much more profound and pronounced way. So what you got here is just some regular store-bought tofu. You see the water coming out of it right now. I mean, it thawed all day while I was at work. So the first thing to do is just pour all the water out. Right, take it out, and you see here where it's no longer just a flat surface, but you can see there's a big bump in it, and that's from where the water has expanded and made the tofu larger. So what I'm going to do now, in here, right, I've got a strainer, and because a whole bunch of water is going to fall out of here, and the tofu is going to crumble as soon as I squeeze it. If you buy regular grocery store bought tofu, it's always going to crumble. That's why I suggest, if you have the access to it, buying it from a co-op, some sort of locally made tofu instead of the store-bought stuff, because the locally made stuff, the not mass-produced tofu, will hold its shape much more when you squeeze it. But you see here, right, all that water that comes out, and I'll squeeze this a good, 6 or 7 times, get the water out, and if you look closely, you can see where it's starting to crack and it's starting to crumble and fall apart. That's okay. If you want to put this on a grill or whatnot, you can't do it like this because of the way it crumbles. And you see, I mean, that just has to be okay. So it doesn't always look like it's going to be very delicious. But it certainly does taste that way. See, you see part of it just fell off. And because pieces fall off, right, the water that's coming out of these ones that are still in my hand go into the ones that are falling off, so I end up picking those up and squeezing them again. This tofu has been thawing, for about 8 hours, and the center of it is still frozen, so I'm going to just throw that out and continue to squeeze the rest of this. Right, and you see at this point there's almost no water left in this tofu. Yet the texture of it is it's like a sponge. It's a whole lot different than it is if you just slice tofu out of the container. And this sponge-like nature leads it to soak up whatever it is you're cooking it in, which I'm going to cook this in barbecue sauce, in a homemade barbecue sauce with a whole bunch of different vegetables in it. And see, it just retains nothing and becomes like a sponge. You can mold it and shape it into whatever. So after squeezing all the water out of this, what I'm going to do is just add it to the pot, throw the vegetables in there, and then throw the sauce in there. Right, you see there's still just a little bit of water left in some of this. I mean, in this, you know, I mean, I got not just meat eaters, but pork eaters coming to the crib and being like, yo, I normally don't mess with no tofu, but you put your foot in that. So I mean, this is it really, the way squeezing the water out allows you to, you know, change the taste of tofu with something that, you know, folks really enjoy. And I wish I could give credit to the sister who taught me how to do this. I can't remember what her name is. She from Bed-Stuy though, so Brooklyn stand up. I'm gonna just give a shout out to the whole borough. So that, I mean, that's about it. There's still a little bit of water left in here, but not enough to really worry about it, right? So I'm going to take this now. Follow me over here. I'm going to take it and just throw it in the pot like so. That's my sauce. I'm going to take these vegetables. Right, and you know, for the barbecue, I just use a bunch of different vegetables. I got some green onion, red pepper, green pepper. I'll throw tomatoes in there in a little while, and I'll throw some unsalted roasted cashews in there. Sometimes I use the raw ones, sometimes I use the roasted ones, right? But then I just throw the sauce down here, and you know, you cook curry tofu like this, barbecue tofu, you know what I mean, whatever, jerk tofu, whatever it is, whatever kind of sauce you want to do, you know what I mean, it'll work out. And if you get that water out of there, the more the water you get out, the more the tofu is free to suck up whatever you marinated in. So like I said, right, I'll chop up a tomato in a minute and throw that in there. Heat it, right, get the little spatula and mix the sauce around. Right, and what you want to do is just make sure, you know, that you got it as evenly coated as you can, because taking the water out of that tofu, it sucks up the sauce way faster than otherwise. Right, so oftentimes, you know, I find myself, you know, making a little extra sauce. I'm pouring that in here as I go. But if you take a look at this, right, my bad. Ooh, Lord. Right, if you take a look at it, you can kind of see the lighting isn't too good. But that's what it'll look like. Stir it for a minute. I'll let it cook on low heat for about an hour after it heats up, and I promise you sheer deliciousness. So y'all, I hope this helped. You know what I mean? Be healthy, y'all. I know don't nobody teach us how to eat healthy, so I'm trying to play a part there. So yeah, I hope it works, and may your tofu dishes be merry. Peace.